I'm caps lock different. It's facts, not fiction. Said I black out for real, then the track gone missing. If it's cap, I'm dipping. We ain't talking about a move, then it's flatline finished. When I spaz, I'm grinning. Put a peel off in the Sadies and I pass by spinning. It's perks with this life, but I don't have my skinach. Took a quick trip and now I'm back home winning. And I see they eyes pop like I snack on spinach. Pull up to the spot, she tryna grab my digits. I'm already 8 shots, a Henny past my limit. Here you go. Hazards with a dash full of tickets. I'ma act like I don't see them. I got bad eye vision. Y'all can't pass my scrimmage. While y'all tripping, it's Aruba. I realized I had to go and flip this.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 159 of Psychotic and Iconic. Paul's here along with my co-host Nick Theories and Philly Phil. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in to the live stream. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and share it. Thank you to everybody that likes, follows, and subscribes to all of our platforms. You ready to go, Big Dog?
We back, man. How was your 4th of July?
It was good.
Yeah? Did you celebrate it Patriot style?
Yeah, at my brother's house.
Yeah?
Weed,
I like
alcohol,
that.
and food.
I like that. I celebrated with my fiance's family, my family.
Best family in the world.
Philly Phil.
There ain't a family like the Millers.
Yo, I got a quick story, yo. I had the funniest story with me and Phil. Him and I went jet skiing with our fiancés this weekend. As we were going to fill up gas for the jet ski, my hat flew off.
The Theories hat?
Phil, yeah, the Theories hat, my helmet. And as soon as we went in the water, I was like, Phil, my hat.
Fuck with your helmet.
He was going like 50 miles an hour. I was like, Phil, my hat's gone, bro. We go around, right? We get it. And mind you, this jet ski is so uneven. This thing tilted over. The fucking thing completely went over. So
Were you and Phil on it?
me and Phil.
No. He's not saying it right. I jumped into the water to go get his hat because we couldn't reach it while sitting on top. I jump in to go get it, and then I
fell.
And then I reach up to go hand it to him, and he's reaching down to get it from me, and then he falls in the fucking water, and the jet ski flips over.
Yeah. So we were in the water, right? And I swear to God, time froze for about 5 seconds. I look over. Phil is thinking at least 100 miles an hour of what to do. He had no idea what to do, dude. And then we just say, he's like, "Yo, dude, just flip this thing over. Let's just go." That was the best moment. That was one of the funniest moments of my life. I saw this man think 100 miles an hour within that 5 seconds. Bro.
Phil's a thinker too.
Like time froze. He is. Time froze for that 5 seconds. That was one of the funniest moments I've had in my life. That would be my
first time on a jet ski?
That was my second. But that was like my first time actually like really going.
Dude, they're so much fun.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you. I am still sore from that shit, bro. My body's sore. Everything. My legs, my torso, my back, everything, bro. Yeah, everything is sore. Everything is sore. I'm not kidding. It was the impact. Yeah, it was great. It was a good time, though. I had a great weekend. What?
Hi.
I had a great weekend, man. I'm ready to get this shit rocking and rolling. Welcome back, everybody. We got 6 people on YouTube. How many we got on Facebook? I don't know. Four? Well, you guys need to share the stream now. We are live. We have a packed show tonight, and we can't wait to get into it. So let's go.
Let's do it. NBA free agency was wild. I know we said we were going to be all football, but NBA free agency took us for a little ride over this past weekend. So the Sixers signed Patrick Beverley, but they lost George Niang, Shake Milton, and Jalen McDaniels. What do you think about the signing and the losses?
I love the signing. We talked about this a couple pods ago that, I wanted the Sixers to get that annoying player, and they finally got it.
I think you actually said Pat Bev.
Oh, yeah, we talked about Pat Bev. I think he would be a great addition for the Sixers, and I love this move for him. They have him. They have PJ Tucker. They have 2 defensive guys. Losing Niang kind of sucks because he is pretty good at the 3-point. But other than that, I'm okay. I like the Sixers move so far. I really do. I think they upgraded.
I'm the same way. I actually do hate losing Jalen McDaniels because he's a really good defender. Losing Shake, he was a good shooter, but he was kind of buried on the bench. He didn't really get that much burn and wasn't that impactful. Losing Niang is tough because he's obviously a great shooter. He's a great 3-point shooter. He talks shit. Like the crowd loved him and everything. But he was it was so hard to play him because he's such a poor defender. It was 5-on-4 when you were coming down. There was nothing he can't guard a pole.
Yeah.
So that's what sucks. But I love the signing of Patrick Beverley. I think it'll be great. And I mean, not great. Patrick Beverley, he's a good player, but just he's he's going to thrive in Philly with that crowd and everything that Philly's about, because that's what he is.
The
Rough,
energy.
rugged, tough. Like he's going to love that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So I'm all in on the Patrick Beverley signing. I liked it for them.
Yeah.
James Harden opted in after he had no market. Now they're looking for a sign and trade deal so that he could get a long-term deal. Where do you think Harden ends up?
I think Harden's going to stay put. I don't know if there's an actual trade partner for him. I don't see a team out there right now potentially wanting to acquire him at this point. I think a lot of teams have made a lot of moves. They spent a lot of money. They've, I think they've kind of formulated their team a little bit. I think I don't believe a team is willing to give up a lot to get something back that is possibly on a serious decline.
Well, he definitely is on a decline.
Right.
I mean, he's definitely on a decline. That's all I'm going to say. I can't go into like crazy specifics on that, but you could your eye test tells you that he's not James Harden that he was in Houston. And that's cool, but it is what it is.
Still a good player.
Yeah. Like I think Harden's going to stay with the Sixers because I don't think Daryl Morey's going to give him away. Like he's not going to take him. He's not going to let him go for nothing because James Harden is still a good player.
What percentage you got for him coming back? I got probably 60-40.
I would go higher
because
I would say 70-30, 80-20, something like that. I just don't see it. Like my thing is a team here's my thing. Why would Harden opt in? If Harden opted out and was a free agent, you mean to tell me a team like Detroit or one of those bad teams that needs to sell tickets wouldn't have given him 40-45 million for a year?
Because I don't think that's what he wants. He doesn't want to go to a Detroit.
But my point is that the Sixers would have been held hostage to give him a contract. The Sixers need him the most.
Yeah, they do. Well, so they're held hostage. I agree
so
with
my
that.
thing is, if he would have opted out and he would have, and a team like Detroit or I don't even know I can't even think who's another trash team off the top of my head, but a team like that would have offered him a high contract. Even if he signed a 1-year deal with Philly, again, I'm pretty sure he could have got more than 36 million. So that's where I was confused on that. But I was even more confused that it was he opted in and then wanted to be traded. Because it looks like from the looks of it, him and Embiid are cool.
Yeah.
So I don't.
You saw the photos from Michael Rubin's party?
Yeah, like Tobias Harris was there. They all looked fine. So I don't really understand it. But yeah, I do. I think he's coming back. Like I said, I would go up to even 80% that he's coming back. The only way I think James Harden gets traded is if the Sixers make a move for Damian Lillard and then trade him to the Clippers for all those role players. That's the only way I see Harden getting traded in. I don't see the Sixers getting Damian Lillard because Lillard has said, I'm only playing for Miami.
Right. So I'm at 60-40, and here's why. We got Daryl Morey for what reason? To build a roster, right? Build a team, make the moves. He's very good at making moves, and I firmly believe he has something up his sleeve. What that is, I don't know. But there's no way in hell I don't see them being satisfied with Harden and Tobias running it back. I just don't see that. So I'm thinking there is a move to be made. It's just, is it going to be the right move? It's like, what can they get back for Harden? That's where I'm like, okay, there's definitely a move there, but I don't know if they're satisfied with the return. Did his stock decline from the playoff run?
Look, probably, but I don't see it that way. Look, I know he had a bad game 7, but he did win 2 games by himself, and game 1 in both games he dropped 40 or 45.
I see it that way. I know. I see his value decline from that playoff run.
Yeah, and to me, it wouldn't have declined, but it wouldn't have increased. It would have been regular.
It would have been a moot point.
Yes, like for me, that has nothing to do with it, in my opinion. Like I would never view it like that.
Well, it does have to do, because if you're going to give up if you're going to give up young pieces for a James Harden to go win it all, and you need him in the playoffs to perform, you need him to be consistent.
Well, that's been James Harden's story his whole career, though.
Right. And that's my point. So it's like, do I really want to mortgage my future to give up for somebody that's going to be inconsistent in the playoffs? I'm good on that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams have smartened up.
Oh, for sure. I mean, nobody's going to give James Harden 4-5 years at $45 million a season. It's suicide, because in 2 years, who knows what he's going to be.
And I think, to be honest with you, with the selling tickets part, what you were saying, I kind of think the NBA's window with that is kind of closing, because I see a lot more parity in the NBA now than I did 5-6 7 years ago.
But if you're here, my point is on that. Let me clarify a little bit, and I think you'll understand when I put it like this. Say you're a Pistons fan. That team's been trash since
Ben Wallace
2009.
and Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, like they've been really bad. If you brought in James Harden, it would give you a glimmer of hope because like they have Cade Cunningham, they just got Monty Williams. So it's like, okay, we have a little bit. At least we can win some games. Maybe we'll be a little bit competitive in the East. And it's like, okay,
But
that I think would sell tickets.
But here's the thing, though. To acquire James Harden, you got to give up some pieces.
No. I'm saying if he opted out, I feel like
and went to a free agency.
And went into free agency, a team like the Pistons, I feel like would just to put people in their seats, give them a glimmer of hope in the East to make the play-in or even a 7 seed or an 8 seed. You have Monty Williams, you have Cade Cunningham. Why couldn't that at least be enticing to fans that haven't really seen a star there?
Right. I agree with that. But I just think I just believe that there is definitely a move to be made. I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
Tom just said
for
this,
return.
And we were talking about this earlier in the chat. I want the Sixers. Like, why wouldn't you call Chicago and try and send them to Chicago and get Zach LaVine?
Who's to say they're not? And
I don't know. I'm just saying I hope they're doing that. I've been on the LaVine train for 2 or 3 years. I love LaVine. He's one of my favorite players.
So you're going to give up Harden for LaVine?
Dude, tonight I would pack Harden shit myself and send them to Chicago.
So what do you do with Tobias? Do you package him too, or do you keep him? Like, what's the price tag for LaVine? That's where we gotta break it down.
I don't know what the price tag for LaVine. If I was Chicago, it would be high. I think LaVine is a stud.
I agree with that.
Like I said this earlier,
he's pretty good.
When we were talking about this, I said it to you guys. He was in Minnesota. He was a 6th man. He tore his ACL. He was a star in the dunk contest. He was known for dunks. He's in Chicago now. He's the number 1 option. He could shoot the 3 ball. He creates his own shot. Chicago was in the play-in. They were doing great 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whenever it was, when Lonzo Ball ripped his knee up, when DeMar DeRozan was going crazy too.
But is he number 2?
Who, LaVine?
Yeah. Can he step in here into Philly and play the number 2 role? Or
Absolutely.
Or would the Sixers give it to Maxey?
No. No, LaVine's better than Maxey right now. Oh yeah, LaVine's better than like head and shoulders are better than above Maxey right now. But my point is that if your backcourt is Maxey and LaVine, you have 2 young, promising players. You have LaVine who can create his own shot, already has the experience of being a number 1 option, so he would be able to flourish as a number 2. Then you have Maxey. Maxey's your 3rd option. Maxey's good. Maxey shot 40% from 3 this year.
But Maxey was our 3rd option last year, and how did that work out?
It's hard when Harden's ball dominant.
I get it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Harden's ball dominant.
I think the thing is, it's like the Sixers, I feel like Maxey is the biggest piece here, right? If we move Maxey, we get Dame. Right? We move Maxey, we get Dame.
Yeah,
we're getting Dame.
But I understand the hesitation on it. I would do it.
I agree with
you. I understand from a business standpoint why you wouldn't. But I'm just saying, like, if Dame said, I'll come to Philly, and they said that Maxey is the trade piece, yeah, I would do it.
So let me ask you, why wouldn't you do it, though? Like, why do you understand it?
Because, like, Dame over the next 4 years is like $250 million.
Right.
In 4 years, what's Dame going to be?
Right.
Dame's going to be he's going to be on the down part of his career.
I agree.
Maxey next year is going to be eligible for the Supermax. His Supermax is only going to be like 210. Maxey has gotten better every year he plays. So you can get Maxey at 23 years old going into a 5-year Supermax for cheaper than you can get a 31-year-old that's going to be 35 when his contract expires.
Right. But in 4 years, Dame is going to be on the decline. Is that what you're saying? Right? And then, right. But in 4 years, what's Embiid going to be?
Well, I was just going to go to that. That's exactly what
so now we got to figure out the window.
Maxey's window matches the Trailblazers' window with
Shaden Sharp, Anthony Simons,
and
yes.
what's his face, and the guy they just got, Scoot Henderson. Dame matches with Embiid. So that's the basketball part I don't get. If you're Daryl Morey and they want Tyrese Maxey, is Tyrese Maxey good? Yes, but he's not a top 30 player. So why wouldn't you send him? You get Damian Lillard, who can be a top 10 player, whose prime matches Embiid's. You're maximizing Embiid's window. You have 3 years left of Embiid at this level, if you're lucky? Why would you not do that? Why? Why? I don't understand that portion is what I'm saying. I would trade Maxey for Dame immediately. And I just, like I said, the financial standpoint of it, Like I understand what they could be thinking. I'm guessing on that. But on the other side, why would you not pair Damian Lillard with Joel Embiid? I don't understand that. You legitimately have 2 number 1 options.
Well, here's the thing, though. Does Dame want to come to Philly? Because there's a lot of reports out there that he is strictly Miami. He wants to be a Miami Heat, and I don't see any other reports to indicate that he would come to Philly or welcome a trade to Philly.
No, he said he wouldn't. At this point, he said he wouldn't.
Right.
So I'm just saying, if he wanted to come here,
right?
Yeah, if he wanted to come here, I said this earlier. If Daryl Morey will not trade Tyrese Maxey for Damian Lillard, and Damian Lillard wants to come here, he should be fired immediately. Immediately. Damian Lillard is a literal superstar.
I agree with you. So if we run it back with the same team, right? Or if
we get a ring, it's all worth it. What Tom said, it's all worth it.
Oh, absolutely, it's all worth it.
Just like the Lakers with Anthony Davis.
That's what you play. You play to win the game. You play to get a ring. You play for the championship and the banners and stuff like that. Absolutely, 100%. But the Sixers are in a really, really unique situation. They have an MVP coming back. They got Maxey, who's a young star. They got Tobias, who is probably the worst contract in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And they have James Harden, who is an aging, declined superstar or star at this point. Now, for him to opt in, it's like, all right, it's either they're going to run it back or they have another move, and that's up their sleeve. Now, if the other move up their sleeve makes them, somewhat of a contender, or just to get rid of the Harden fiasco, then what do you do with Embiid? What's Embiid going to be? I would be nervous about Embiid possibly requesting a trade.
So I don't think Embiid's going to request a trade. It just doesn't seem like something he would do.
But we didn't think that Dame Lillard would do it either.
Well, it was different with
how
Dame
loyal is a hungry dog.
Yeah,
I always believe in that.
But
how loyal is a hungry dog?
But Dame told the Blazers, let me see what you do in free agency. And they took free agency and took their 2nd overall pick or 3rd overall pick, and they decided to go young. So they essentially told Damian Lillard, we're going in a different direction. They just did it like in an indirect way.
Yeah.
So but this has been the rumor with Damian Lillard for what, 2 years now?
Right.
3 years, whatever.
Yeah.
It got old. Fans.
Yeah. It is old. And Brian Jackson makes a good point. He said, assuming Toby and Harden are out, if you ship Maxey for Dame, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's enough to get it done. Just my opinion. I agree with that because, all right. Yeah. You have Dame and Embiid. Well, but what else do you got?
Why would Toby and Harden be out next year? Well, this year coming up.
If they were to trade him for.
Oh, no, you're not getting Harden, Tobias Harris, and Maxey. Look, Tobias Harris gets a lot of shit because he's on a max contract and he's not a max player, but Tobias Harris is a good player.
Maybe he thinks if they're going to get role players for Toby and Harden, like some good role players, solid pieces that can help you.
If you trade Tyrese Maxey for Damian Lillard and you put some picks in there, then you trade James Harden and go get Norman Powell, Marcus Morris, and Terrence Mann from the Clippers. Now you have something. You have 2 superstars, legitimate superstars, and a bunch of role players. Norman Powell's good. Terrence Mann is good. Marcus Morris is fine off the bench. You still got Tobias Harris. Like, you can make do with that.
I'm not giving up Harden without talking Paul George here. If I'm going to give up Toby and I'm going to give up Harden,
I'm not giving up Toby. I'm not sending Harden and Toby to the Clippers. I'm saying Harden straight up for 4 or 5 role players.
But I actually would do that, though. What? I would trade Harden and Toby, and I would acquire Paul George, Powell, and a couple other pieces.
Everyone would do that.
Absolutely.
But the Clippers aren't. The Clippers, why would they trade Paul George for James Harden?
Maybe they got to shake it up. They haven't won shit. They haven't done anything. Kawhi and Paul George haven't done shit together.
I know.
They haven't stayed healthy together. They can't stay healthy together. They're never on the court together. It's time to just move on. You got to move pieces around.
No, I agree totally. And it's like they fly under the radar. Because they're on the Clippers.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
if they were the Lakers and those two,
they're the little brother of LA.
They've been a joke.
They're the little bro of LA.
Really been a joke.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just really what that is. But I don't know with Embiid. I just don't see him requesting a trade. But I mean, look, like you said, anything can happen on that. I just don't see that.
So all in all, if we stay put, Harden comes back, Toby comes back, we just run it back. Mm-hmm. Then we're another 2nd round exit. Just saying. Mm-hmm. It's over, bro.
Oh,
It's
I'm with
over.
you, yeah.
I think it's over now.
Well, that would be.
But the only reason why I don't is because Embiid is the former MVP. He's coming back, and I feel like we still have Embiid. We still have him in his prime.
Next summer, it's going to depend on who's a free agent. Tobias Harris is a free agent. James Harden's a free agent. That's 2 max spots right off the books right there.
Right.
So next summer can be big for Philly depending on who is available. But I don't know yet. I mean, people will want to come and play with Embiid and play in Philly.
Maybe.
So
it depends on what kind of year Embiid has. If there's a drop in production, I mean, look, eventually he's a big body.
I want to see them under Nick Nurse. Like, did you see what Jaden Springer said?
I love Nick Nurse.
Jaden Springer said he stopped when they were doing something in practice, and he stopped them and showed them, and he was like, "Yeah, it was the first time I've ever been stopped and shown what to do." Taking a direct shot at Doc Rivers, like he doesn't coach.
Yeah. I like Nick Nurse. You know that. I mean, he won a ring with the Raptors, and the Raptors
Coach of the year.
Yeah,
Nick Nurse replaced a coach of the year. Dwayne Casey got fired in 2018 when he was the coach of the year, and then 2019 Nick Nurse stepped in and won the title. Yeah, with the same team. I mean, they got Kawhi Leonard, but it was the same team.
Yeah.
So
fake ass MVP, Tom. Fake ass.
All right, so the Lakers, we'll move on to the Lakers. Lakers re-signed Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and D'Lo. They added Gabe Vincent, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, Taurean Prince, but they lost Schroeder, Troy Brown, Beasley, and Lonnie Walker.
Schroeder's a loss. I liked him. He played a really good role for the Lakers. Gabe Vincent's a home run. They got him for nothing. Cam Reddish, he's a young player.
Untapped
potential, just like you said. Jackson Hayes is a pretty big body. Taurean Prince, whatever. But also Reeves coming back for 4 years, $56 million is crazy. The fact that
he got the same contract as Grant Williams.
Let's talk about that for a second, because if I am a team that is in the West, or just a team in general, and I know the Lakers were willing to go $80 to $100 million for Austin Reeves, why wouldn't I just bid higher for him? For his services and force the Lakers' hand to pay him even more. Like, that's what's so surprising to me about this whole thing. Unless Austin Reeves wanted to take less, come back and, rebuild that team and bring guys back and also get a guy like Gabe Vincent. I don't know. But for him to accept 4 years, $56 million when he could have got like 4 years, 80.
I don't think anyone offered that because the Lakers were going to match it. And they weren't going to match it until the final hour of free agency on June 6th or whenever it started. So it would have affected the cap space of other teams.
You don't think any other team would have paid that?
No, they would have, but the Lakers would have been able to match any offer sheet. But the problem is that if he would have signed it and the Lakers didn't match it until the end, those teams couldn't chase other players because it would have affected the cap space.
So the time frame between for the offer sheet,
yes, and
would have affected other teams.
The Lakers could have matched it.
That's a great point.
When the Lakers could have matched it, it would have affected the cap space of other teams, so they couldn't do it. Because they wouldn't have been able to sign, just the Mavericks, like Kyrie Irving and whoever.
That's a great point. I didn't think of that. That's an absolute excellent point.
So,
man, you really do this. You do this.
Sometimes.
I like that.
Sometimes. But on the same subject with the Lakers, Rob Pelinka, what do you think about him as a GM? Do you think he's one of the top dogs now?
He's had an outstanding offseason, and he's had a couple outstanding off seasons, bringing in Anthony Davis a couple years ago. They won a ring, obviously. He's done his job. He got LeBron, got everybody, won a ring. I would say yes. I think the only mistake that he made was probably acquiring D'Lo.
Really?
Probably.
I mean, they re-signed them.
Probably. I would say that's probably one of the biggest mistakes.
So you're not a D'Lo fan?
D'Lo and Russell Westbrook.
Well, yeah, I mean, that goes without saying.
That was the Westbrook thing for me. To make him the best GM kind of like stains his legacy to a degree. But look at the body of work the last couple of years. I can't argue about it right now. I think he's the best.
I think he's I don't know if I would go the best, but he's up there. Just what he did with free agency, at the trade deadline and then now with free agency. I mean, he turned them, and they were like 10th in the West or 13th in the West.
The Lakers weren't even relevant.
And they made the West Finals. And look, I know they got swept, but I'll say it again. They played Denver harder than every team. As odd as that sounds, if you go look at the scores, they had the smallest score differential.
Plus minus.
The plus minus. They played the Lakers tough. I mean, the Lakers played them tough. They couldn't close in the end. But Rob Pelinka is doing great. He really is. Do you think the Lakers need to add anything else? And where would you rank them heading into next year?
I like to see a 3-point shooter. I think they need a corner guy that could sit in the corner and just rack up threes. I think that's what they're missing. I think that's what they're going to attack. They'll probably get somebody on a vet minimum, maybe possibly closer to the trade deadline. But I think the Lakers are done right now. I think they're gonna address that in the season.
I think Cam Reddish might be able to be that guy. Cam Reddish to me is going to be the Malik Monk of 2 years ago. Malik Monk got that big ass truck. Got that big
Malik Monk.
Malik Monk was awesome for the Lakers, and he got that big contract from the Kings and left.
I know.
So that's why he left. But I think Cam Reddish is going to be just like that. But for the Lakers heading into the season, I would say they're a top 4 or 5 team. Off the top of my head, I didn't really look at that, to be honest. But I would say a top 4 or 5 team. They're definitely in the upper echelon of teams heading into the season.
Lakers, absolutely, absolutely, and you can argue, they're a top 3 team in the West.
Definitely. I mean, who? And here's the thing: the Lakers kept their entire core and added better pieces.
I agree.
The Nuggets lost Bruce Brown and what's his face? Didn't they lose the other dude? I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but they lost Bruce Brown, who was a big contributor.
Bruce Brown, yeah, he got the bag too.
Yeah, I thought that's a crazy contract for him, but that's.
I tweeted about that because you come on this show and you were crushing him. You were crushing that guy.
Bruce Brown got, and he got the bag. Money.
He got the bag, yo. No, shout out to him. But that's how you bounce back.
Yeah. Good for him, though. He got paid. And on the subject of getting paid, Dylan Brooks got signed by the Rockets 4 years for $80 million. And they signed Fred VanVleet 3 years, $128 million. And Jock Landale got 4 years, $32 million.
Yo, Jock Landale getting 4 years, $32 million. Yo, he should really he should take DeAndre Ayton out to vacation or something. Because without DeAndre Ayton playing extremely poorly in the playoffs, he's not getting this contract.
Nick, it's not even that. The craziest one for me is Fred VanVleet. I know Fred VanVleet's good, but he got more than Kyrie Irving.
I did notice that. That is kind of crazy. By $2 million.
I know, but I'm just saying, I know.
I got it.
VanVleet's not in the same neighborhood as Kyrie.
I don't
on
disagree.
The floor, obviously. I'm not going into all the other shit that he does.
Right.
But I'm just saying, that's crazy. Dylan Brooks, 4 years, $80 million. Look, Dylan Brooks got a bad rap because of everything that happened with the Lakers in that last series. But Dylan Brooks is an RA player.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be good for the Rockets. He's going to be good with Ime Udoka. That's the type of player that Ime Udoka likes. The Marcus Smarts, the Jaylen Browns, those hard-nosed ass defenders.
Yep.
And I think it'll be good for them. How do you see the Rockets next year? Do you think they could be a team like the Thunder this year that rose and got into the play?
I think they're going to turn it around. I like their roster. I think they are building a young, talented team. They just acquired, obviously, they really good in free agency. I think I agree with you. They overspent for VanVleet. I mean, 3 years, $128 million is ridiculous. But they have really good pieces.
Like a superstar.
Right. But they got good pieces. They got Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Sengun. He's pretty good.
Is good, dude.
Very good.
He's really good.
Cam Whitmore, they just drafted out of Villanova. I think this team is up and coming. I think I would give them a 2-3 year window. And I think this team is going to be legit.
And I think Ime Udoka is going to have a chip on his shoulder with everything that went down. And he's an awesome coach. I mean, he took the Celtics right to the finals in his first year as a coach. So
yeah, they're going to be up and coming. Yeah, they're on the rise. And I just like you said, I love their coach, Ime Udoka. He's really, really good. And I think he's going to coach these young kids up, and they're going to be really, really tough in 2-3 years. I would agree with that. But they will turn it around. They'll have a better record than they did this year.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Definitely.
They might even double their wins.
Do you know how many games they won last year?
It wasn't much.
I don't know if they'll double because I think they won 20 something.
Let's see.
22, 23. So I don't see them winning 46, but
they were 22 and 60.
Okay.
So 40 wins
I would say they'll probably be around 35.
35?
Yeah, that's a good season.
That's respectable.
That's a good season.
I agree with you. But that's like a team where the Rockets, that's a step up for them.
And they got a better coach.
Right.
So, that too.
As a Rockets fan, I'd be happy with that because I know my team is going in the right direction. We're not taking a step back. We've gained pieces. We have young talent. We have a good coach. I like the direction of the Rockets. I really do.
Going back to Kyrie, he goes back to the Mavs, $126 million over 3 years. And then they sign and trade for Grant Williams. Matisse Thybulle was offered $33 million over 3 years by the Mavericks. That actually just got matched by the Blazers. So he went back to the Blazers.
Okay. I missed that.
They got Kyrie Irving. and they got Grant Williams. And like I said, Grant Williams got the same contract as Austin Reeves, and Grant Williams did not plays in some of those playoff games.
Yeah.
So, but that's the desperation because they gave up everything to get Kyrie Irving. So the Mavericks backed themselves into a corner where they had to do that. They had to bring back Kyrie Irving, but somebody like Grant Williams will be good for them.
I think it's a great move for them.
Yeah, he's a good defender. He can shoot. Like, he'll be fine.
But what do the Mavericks need? They need defenders. They need defenders. I love the Grant Williams. They gave up nothing. They gave up 2 second-round picks. What is that in the grand scheme in the NBA draft? That ain't nothing. You're getting 2 bums that may not even never even see the court. And I'm going to get a guy in Grant Williams who's been on Celtics teams, that's been around leadership, that's had experience in the playoffs. I like this move for the Mavericks, and it gives them another defensive piece. This is a home run for them. Matisse Thybulle, that would have been a great move for them.
It would have been great.
It would have been good because it would have helped them out on defensive end. Because if you have Kyrie and Luka, they could score. So,
it would have gave them length. It would have gave them versatility. You got Matisse Thybulle and you got Grant Williams.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go. Yeah. So,
I totally agree with you. That would have been a home run. But I still like the move for him. I think this puts the Mavericks. I'll grade them. I'll give them a B so far.
It was a B offseason, but they're still going to have trouble next year. They're still going to have
Kyrie's an A. Grant Williams is a B, but you have to fill out your rest of your roster.
Yeah, it's going to depend on what else they could get, but there's not really much out there that's going to change my opinion on them. I just don't think that they have it. But
they're going to make the playoffs, though. I think they'll be a playoff team this year.
They better be.
Than they were last year. Last year, they didn't make the playoffs.
No, well, they traded for Kyrie Irving, but before they traded for Kyrie,
they were actually on the rise.
They were the 4th seed.
Yeah, they were
the 4th seed in the West, and then they gutted their whole team.
And then they
Reggie Bullock.
Yeah.
You lost what's his face, Hardaway, and whomever. So it's like just Mark Cuban screwed up.
Yeah.
And the thing is that he had a similar version of Kyrie and Jalen Brunson, and he just undervalued him. He just missed on him, and then Jalen Brunson went to New York, and look at that.
He's shining. Yeah.
So, all right. We'll wrap up the NBA with these last few contracts, and then we'll get into the NFL. Draymond Green goes back to the Warriors, $100 million for 4 years. Who didn't see that coming? He actually took a discount, $25 million a season. That's good for Draymond. Cam Johnson goes back to the Nets for $108 million over 4 years.
That's my guy.
He's so good.
He's a beast.
He's underrated.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma goes back to the Wizards, $102 million for 4 years. A lot of money, but they don't really have anybody. But Kuz is a good player.
Hold on, let me do that again.
Yeah.
Fucking ski mask that shit. What?
I know.
Kyle Kuzma getting $102 million in 4 years? The fuck am I doing in my life?
Would you rather have Kyle Kuzma at $102 million for 4 years or Fred VanVleet at $128 million for 3 years?
Give me Freddie. Freddie, bro. They're
both champions.
He's won a ring though.
So did Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, but he was a big part on the ring. VanVleet. He was actually one of the go-to guys. He was second to Kawhi. So yeah,
that's tough. I think it was
Siakam. Okay,
and then
whatever.
Lowry.
But he played a really big role into getting that ring. So I would go VanVleet on that one.
Chris Middleton goes back to the Bucks for $102 million over 3 years, which I thought was wild. He's been injured over the last few years. I don't know about that one. That's a lot of money for Chris Middleton.
I agree. I'm actually surprised the Bucks did this.
I mean, he got the same money as Kuzma in shorter years. So
I'm legitimately surprised the Bucks actually really forked up the money for Middleton. I thought they were looking to move him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But I mean, in reality,
they
still can. They can move that contract if they wanted to and pick up. But I think they have every intention of bringing him back. I was surprised by the move, though. I'll be honest with you.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money. And then the wildest contract I've ever seen in my life. Jeremy Grant goes back to the Blazers for 5 years, $160 million. That was when Dame was like, all right, I had enough.
Okay, so the next topic on this, it was, what moves do you not like in free agency and what team will suffer the most from a bad contract? That is my answer. Jeremy Grant getting 5 years, $160 million. So what that just told me was, now Dame has requested a trade, right? So Jeremy Grant is your number one. He's your piece. He's your go-to. Like
that's Scoot Henderson's team.
5 years, $160 million.
I just don't even understand that. That's the worst move of the offseason, and it's not even close. Like I said, the VanVleet, I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money. But Jeremy Grant got $160 million.
Come on, man. What's going on here?
Russell Westbrook got $8.
He got $8 million. Is that he got eight a year or total, right?
No, he got $7.8 million over 2 years.
That's
And I don't care what anybody says.
crazy.
Russell Westbrook is better than Jeremy Grant.
well, Russell Westbrook he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
Type of talent. He is
Jeremy,
Fringe Hall of Famer.
fringe my ass. He's a first ballot
People would argue, but
because they're.
I'm not going to argue it.
Yeah.
I get it.
We watched Westbrook in OKC. He was a force. Don't get it twisted.
He was different.
He was awesome. So yeah, that's my move. I hate the most.
Yeah,
and I would say the move that the steal of it was what's his face, Austin Reeves for $56 million.
You think so? Okay. Yep.
That contract is ridiculous.
I agree with you. I think I actually
Austin Reeves is better than Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks just got 80.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's not even close.
So you know what I mean?
I would take Austin Reeves.
And
Just
then-
the impact.
Before we move to the NFL, what team do you think is primed to take the biggest jump next year?
Wow, that's a tough question. And I thought about this for a solid 24 hours, and I would probably say, man, I'll go with the Rockets. I actually believe in them. I actually think I like their roster. I like their coach. I think they've done a lot of things well. They have attacked the offseason like they're trying to compete. So my hat's off to them. I like the Rockets here.
For me, it's the Thunder.
Okay.
I think the Thunder are going to be in that 4th or 5th seed. They're going to be similar to how the Kings were this year. They get Chet Holmgren back. I think Chet Holmgren's going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year. Josh Giddey, I love. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is a stud. I like them a lot. I really like the Thunder.
Josh Giddey is really, really, really good.
He's the man, dude.
But I don't know about Chet. We don't know yet. We don't know. I think he's a big question mark. Potential's there. Yeah, absolutely. But the question mark is there for me.
With Chet?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I just think that they're going to be really good. If Chet Holmgren is what everybody thought he was going to be last year, because he had high projections, they thought he was going to be good.
Absolutely.
Then they're going to be really good. They're going to be what I think they're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's go to the NFL. So we're going to start out with the top 10 power rankings entering in the training camp. This should be fun.
Yeah, let's get it.
All right. So you want to start it off?
I'll go first.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So this is Nick Theory's top 10 NFL power rankings entering the training camp this year, 2023. Number one, I got the Eagles. They are the most complete team, top to bottom. The roster is stacked. Yeah, they lost Gardner Johnson. So fucking what? They have pretty much every single piece coming back. I love the Eagles at number one. Number two, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. Call me crazy. Shit, at least you calling. I don't really care. The Bengals are a better team than the Chiefs. The Chiefs lost their starting offensive tackle. That man went to the Bengals to protect Joe Burrow. I like that move. I think the Chiefs are number three. And I only have them there because the left tackle does concern me. If you get pressure on Mahomes, he will make mistakes. And I just believe that other teams can get after Mahomes better than the Chiefs can get after other quarterbacks. So they're number three for me. Number four, I got the 49ers. A lot of quarterback concerns, but the talent is just ridiculous, top to bottom on the roster. Number five, might surprise some people, but I got the Miami Dolphins. I love their offense. They got Jalen Waddle. They got Tyreek Hill. They have pieces on this team that can really do some damage, and they have a really good scheme, really good coach. I like McDaniel. Their defense is up and coming. Give me Miami at number five to be a sleeper. Six, I got the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen. I don't need to say anything else. Seven, the Goffar won't like this, but I got the Dallas Cowboys. They have talent. Let's just be real. 8, the Baltimore Ravens. I love what they did the offseason. They're just going to play. They're going to play good defense. In the second half of last season, they had a top 10 defense, and now they're getting Lamar Jackson back healthy. What they do is run the football, play good defense, and that's how they win football games. I don't see that changing with the Ravens. I got them at 8. Number 9, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are an up-and-coming team. They just acquired Calvin Ridley, and he's coming back from suspension. They got Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley. Who else? They got. Who else they have? Zay Jones.
Yeah.
They have hitters on his team. Travis Etienne's a beast. I like the Jags at 9. Trevor Lawrence is ascending. 10, I got the LA Chargers. Talent galore. I really like Kellen Moore. I think he's going to be fantastic for the Chargers. I think he's going to make the world of the difference for them on the offensive side. Give me the Chargers at 10. So that's my top 10 power rankings. Go argue with your mother.
So all right. So we got some similarities and we got some differences, of course. So number one, I have the Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league by a wide margin. Number two, I have the Eagles because they're the most complete team. But it's hard after you lose a Super Bowl to go back.
You got the Chiefs.
So,
Chiefs at one.
Have to.
I knew it.
I have to respect them. I have to respect them.
They're
I have
three
to.
for me.
Number two, I have the Eagles. Number three, I have the Bengals. Joe Burrow, that whole core is coming back. Number four, I have the Dolphins. They added Jalen Ramsey and they added David Long Jr. from the Titans.
Wait. Wow. I'm so shocked. Go ahead, keep going.
The Dolphins, baby.
This is great.
Number five, I got the Jets. They won 7 games with the worst quarterback in the league in Zach Wilson. And then they added Mike White and then that tatted up dude. Number 6, I have the 49ers. Roster's complete, but that whole quarterback situation is messy. You got Sam Darnold, you got Brock Purdy, and you got Trey Lance. What are you going to do with them? So we'll see there. Number 7, I have the Chargers. I think the addition of Kellen Moore is going to unlock that offense to its highest potential. I think they're going to score a ton of points. The Jaguars, at number 8, I have the Jaguars. I think that Trevor Lawrence and them are only going to ascend. They're going to get Calvin Ridley. I don't think Calvin Ridley is going to have that big of an impact through the first 6 games of the season, but I think once he comes on into the end and gets his legs back under him. Number 9, I have the Cowboys. They added Stephon Gilmore. They added Brandon Cooks. They have Tony Pollard. I know he's coming back off of an injury, but I think their offense is going to be what it is. I'm a little concerned about losing Kellen Moore and it being Mike McCarthy, but they have enough talent and they seem to win. They seem to win 11, 12 games every year. Mm-hmm. And then number 10, I have the Ravens. They have a new offensive coordinator that wants to throw the ball. I think this is the most talent that Lamar Jackson has ever had on the offensive side of the ball. If they could just stay healthy, I think the Ravens will challenge the Bengals in that division. Okay.
So let's unpack this here.
I'll pack you.
What do you have a problem with on my list?
Fuck, bro. I didn't write it down. Go ahead again.
I don't have the Jets. They're not a top 10 team.
Oh.
They reek of the Broncos this year.
They
reek of it. They just do. The Hard Knocks thing turns me off. Turns me the fuck off.
You reek a sour.
That shit turns me off. The whole Hard Knocks thing turns me off. There has never been a team that's been on Hard Knocks that has actually been really good.
Well, they didn't get
too many distractions. I do not like it. It just seems too diva-ish for me. I get it. Rodgers is coming in. I get it. But it just seems too diva-ish for me. When Brady went to Tampa, it was work. It was work. But
you can't compare him to Brady. It's different. And they won 8 games. They won.
It is different. Exactly. It is different.
They didn't win 8 games this year. They won 7.
Yeah.
So it's different. So they weren't even.
But their schedule's going to be harder. Remember that.
But again, bro, they won 7 games with the worst quarterback situation in the league. You added Lazard. Breece Hall's coming back. You have the offensive rookie of the year. That defense. You have Sauce Gardner, who you could argue is the best cornerback in the league.
Look, they have good pieces. I don't disagree with it.
5 through 8 again.
5 through 8. I had the Dolphins, the Bills, the Cowboys, and the Ravens.
I'm surprised you had the Ravens in there. And then who'd you round out with at 9 and 10?
Jacksonville and the Chargers. Well, the Ravens, they're always a solid team. They're always going to play good ass defense, and they're going to run the football. They're going to run the air out of the football.
You know who I actually thought?
That's what they do.
You know who it was hard for me to leave off of that list? The Lions.
We'll talk about that at another show.
I know.
Because that was one of the teams that was fringe for me.
Yeah, I know. I wrote it actually down here just in case you questioned me. At 11 and 12, I had the Bills and the Lions.
So Bills is not on your top 10.
No.
But the Jets are.
Yes.
So that's where our differences
Correct,
are.
yeah.
Okay.
But I have the Dolphins you have the Dolphins and the 5. Bills. I have the Dolphins and the Jets. I think I don't understand how people are not talking about the Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to be good. Dolphins are going to be, they're stout, dude. They're stacked.
See, I took the Bills over the Jets, and honestly, let's just go the consistency route. Josh Allen has been lights out. He's had 40 touchdowns passing and throwing the last 3 years. It's hard for me to just say it's going to decline, like it's going to go off a cliff. I just don't see that. And Rodgers playing in New York, there's a lot of pressure. It takes a lot to get to know your players, your system. I just feel like, I get, Hackett's there. They have some rapport there. I get it. the Jets thing, it just smells like shit to me.
And my thing
it really
and
smells
it's
like
funny
shit.
because that's exactly how I am with the Bills. The Bills are my team this year that are going to be the team that shocks everybody and falls off. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win 5 games, but if the Bills win 10 games, I think it will be a great season for them. That's how much I think the Bills are going to collapse.
It's not that I don't believe in Sauce, Brees, and Garrett. I believe in Garrett. I believe in all those guys. I do. But Brees Hall's coming off an ACL injury. Let's be real here, okay? Let's be real. And is Garrett going to command, double coverages this year? Yeah, you bet the fucking house he is.
And you got Alan Lazard.
Okay, and what has Alan Lazard?
And you got McCall Hardman in the third in the slot.
And Alan Lazard has been nothing in Green Bay, really. He was okay.
He was all right last year.
He's a decent receiver. He's not gonna be a world beater.
No, but he's a good 2 or 3.
Right.
And then you got McCall Hardman.
Right.
And then you got Brees Hall. And then you got Rodgers. My thing is
but what do you have an offensive line?
Bro,
because if you don't have an offensive line, those pieces don't mean shit.
I understand that, but here's the thing. That same offensive line got the worst quarterback situation in the league to 7 wins, and the best running back went down. So my thing is that's going to improve no matter what with Aaron Rodgers back there. And I'm not even an Aaron Rodgers fan like that, but I know Aaron Rodgers is good. And here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers has a chip on his shoulder. Everybody's been talking about him. The whole thing that happened with Green Bay, dumping him, this, that, and the third. I just think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a big, big season.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And I like them on the Jets. And for me with the Bills, you lost Leslie Frazier. You lost your defensive coordinator. Last year, you lost Brian Dable. You still didn't fix your offensive line. Your best wide receiver isn't showing up to mini camps. Every time there's a press conference, they're talking about Stephon Diggs not showing up. Sean McDermott saying, I'm concerned about it. Your whole offense is predicated upon big play or bust.
Okay.
Like the Bills don't have a 5 to 7 yard game. They just don't have it, which is why the Bills can't get anywhere.
What I'm about to tell you is this going to scare you. The Jets ranked 3rd worst in pass block grade last season.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers were the 3rd best, right?
Mm-hmm.
That scares me. That concerns me.
Not me.
This whole Jets thing, this whole experiment just smells like shit. It just does.
It's going to smell like roses by the end of the season.
I had this hunch about the Broncos last year. I just didn't stick my neck out of the fucking woods and say it. But this year, I'm going to fucking say it. And the Jets are going to be the team that's going to be very disappointing to a lot of people.
So what would you say is disappointing, though? What's a disappointing record for the Jets?
I think disappointing for the Jets is anything less than an AFC Championship appearance.
So you have high expectations for them.
The world does. I don't. The world does. So if the world,
so I'm saying for you. So if they went 11-6
mm-hmm.
and they got bounced in the first round, is that a failure?
I think they exceeded expectations in my end. 11-6. I don't even have them going 11-6.
That's a good. But I'm saying that's a good season.
That's a good
goes
season.
To a new team,
yeah,
in the Big Apple, wins 11 games out of 17, gets to a playoff game.
Yeah,
what's wrong with that? That's a good season.
There's a lot wrong with that. He's 39 years old. Next year he's going to be 40. How much does he have left in the tank?
He's got 2 years max.
Because you traded two first round picks to get him. Like you traded a lot to go get this guy. He's got to deliver.
Well, it was really only one.
So you got all these picks, right? You got your quarterback, but who the fuck is protecting this guy? This guy's 39, going to be 40 years old. It just smells like shit to me, dude.
He could get the ball out fast. It feels
like, right, but he can't get the ball out fast. But defenses are going to come after Aaron Rodgers. They're just going to blitz him, and who knows? When you go from the 3rd best pass block grade to the 3rd worst, that is concerning. That's a big margin right there.
So let me ask you something. So how do you feel about the Rams next year?
The Rams?
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes for them. I think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be what they were last year. I think they're going to be a competitive team. They're going to give people fits because you have Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is still a top 5 wide receiver in this league, maybe possibly top 3.
So the offensive line with a less talented quarterback doesn't concern you? Because the offensive line on the Rams is just as bad, if not worse, than the Jets. And Matthew Stafford is not as good as Aaron Rodgers. Well, and you have no run game with the Rams.
Okay.
So my thing is like, if you think that way about the Rams, how are you not looking at the Jets situation and saying, okay, they just won 7 games and they're bringing back the identical team. They got better at wide receiver. They're getting the premier running back and they upgraded more than anyone in the league at that position.
Well, I take a look at their division. They got the Cardinals. Who else do they have?
Who? Oh, the Rams. I'm sorry. Well, they got the 49ers and the Seahawks. They were both playoff teams.
Okay. The Seahawks
The Cardinals stink. The Cardinals are the worst team in the league, so I'm with you on that. That's one team eliminated.
The fucking AFC East is packed. You can discredit New England. I'm not going to do that here. You know how I feel about them. That's my squad. But let's put some respect on their name too. They're going to be shit. They ain't going to be some shit. They're going to surprise some people too. But their division's harder. I think the AFC. Well, I would say the AFC is probably the better conference than the NFC.
I mean, here's the problem.
Like, here's
my issue
real,
with the Patriots. The AFC is so loaded. Mac Jones isn't even a top 10 quarterback in his own conference. That's the problem. I mean, now look, if they get D-Hop, it'll help. Absolutely, it'll help. You know what I mean? So, but the AFC East is loaded. I know exactly what you're saying. But are the Seahawks going anywhere? I don't think so. The 49ers, they were ranked, what, fifth in your power
I had
rankings?
them 4th, yeah.
Okay, so there you go. They're not going anywhere. The Cardinals, like I said, that's a gimme. The Cardinals are going to win 3 games. So it's like, okay. But I got you on that.
I just think for me, it's the expectations thing. There's everybody saying the Jets. And I'm sitting here like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I see the roster. I see the potential. I see everything that everybody's talking about. But when I look at the offensive line, it doesn't fit the mold of what the predictions are saying. It doesn't make any sense. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with a bottom 3 offensive line. It just,
you know what?
It would be Aaron Rodgers' greatest run he's ever had in his entire career if he were to do that. It wouldn't even be a question.
I don't know. That Super Bowl run was good because he was a wild card team. And he beat Big Ben.
And if I'll say this, if Aaron Rodgers can win with this offensive line, he is a top 5 all-time quarterback, and it's not close.
He's a Super Bowl away from being a top 5 quarterback. I'm on record saying that. I just don't have him in my top 5 because I said he hasn't done shit since that Super Bowl. He's won MVPs and stuff, but he hasn't done it when it really counted. But my thing is, I'm going to say, when it comes to the Jets, stop paying attention to the offensive line and pay attention to me.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. And I will get you places. Listen to what I'm saying. So, do you have anything else on that before we move to our new segment?
You're sick.
Under center?
No. Let's go. This is our new shit.
Under center, Kirk Cousins edition. So I'm going to ask Theories who he would rather have under center. Kirk Cousins or Deshaun Watson?
Kirk Cousins, bro.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Damn.
Why?
I thought we were going to get into it on that. I got Kirk Cousins
too. Give me Kirk.
Yeah, because
the numbers back it up. Kirk was top 5 in passing yards last year.
Yeah, and you know how I feel about Deshaun Watson. He's not coming back. Russell Wilson.
I'll take Russ. I will take Russ. I think last year was a really bad year, changing teams. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson on this one.
I'm going with Kirk Cousins again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Kirk Cousins again. Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, I'm off both of them. Deshaun Watson's a little bit more personal. And not, well, actually, I don't really want to say that because Deshaun Watson he just was off for too long. And I just don't see him coming back. I mean, it just doesn't happen. Russell Wilson, I think he's washed up. I didn't say it. I just watched it. Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff?
I got Jared Goff.
So do I.
Yeah. I think Jared Goff is probably
definitely more talented. And I think that last year was an indication of what Jared Goff can be.
I think Jared Goff is one of the best quarterbacks in the pocket.
He's all.
I don't care. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Look at the stats. The stats will tell the whole story. This guy in the pocket is fucking good.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's efficient.
Kirk Cousins or Matthew Stafford?
I'm gonna go Stafford here.
I'm gonna say Stafford too. The only issue I have with that is I don't like what's up with his injury. I feel like we haven't heard anything about it since last year. And last year it knocked him out for the season. So I don't know what Stafford is coming into the year, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's healthy, and I would take Stafford.
Right. I would rather have Matthew Stafford leading my team than Kirk Cousins just because of the history. And
I know Stafford can get it done.
Yes.
I haven't seen Kirk get it done yet.
Correct.
Kyler Murray or Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
All day long.
It's not even a question.
All day long. Kyler Murray stinks.
We're going to be dragging Kyler all season long.
Well, not until Thanksgiving because he's out.
Well, it doesn't matter. In our under center additions, he's going to be.
Oh, always.
He's going to be.
I'm taking 80% of the league.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins or Dak Prescott. I'll do that.
This was tough. Look at the numbers. The numbers are actually,
They lie sometimes.
They do. They don't tell the full story. I agree with that. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott here.
So am I. Thank you.
I think talent-wise, he's a little bit better.
Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields?
I'm gonna go Kirk Cousins here. I'm not a Justin Fields guy. I gotta see it. I gotta see him put together a full season of him sitting in the pocket and delivering the football. I know he's a great runner, fantastic athlete. I need to see him in the pocket and delivering the football. Kirk Cousins can do that.
I'm taking Kirk Cousins too. Justin Fields, he missed a lot of easy throws, and the same thing as you. I need to see him do it. I need him to give me something where I'm like, okay, I see it there. That doesn't involve him running.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm on that. Kirk Cousins or Daniel Jones?
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
Yep.
Daniel Jones stinks. Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr?
This one was hard for me, but I am actually going to lean Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is better numbers over, overall.
So good to see your brain still works.
Come on, don't do me like that, bro. Not in front of company. Everybody knows I'm fucking smart. I know what I'm talking about. But Kirk Cousins dominates Derek Carr in every single statistic category throughout his career, besides interceptions and pass attempts.
Kirk Cousins or I'm sorry, I didn't even say it. Yeah, I'm taking Kirk Cousins too. Derek Carr is all right, but I don't know. I think Derek Carr is also one of those players this year that has a shitload of expectations on him, and I think it's a recipe for disaster out there with that idiot coaching. I can't think of his name.
Oh,
Dennis Allen. I think that's a recipe.
Yeah,
for
you hate
disaster.
Dennis Allen, but Dennis Allen went 7-9 last year,
Dennis Allen shot
or 7-10.
Yeah,
7-9. I'm so used to 16 games.
I know. I'm the same way.
So weird.
Kirk Cousins or Tua?
Sipping on some shit. Nah, I'm kidding. I like Kirk Cousins. Give me
Tua.
give me Kirk.
Give me Tua.
I like Kirk.
Yeah, I think Tua showed a lot last year. Obviously, the whole health thing, but Tua and them boys were rolling. I think Tua gave me I gained a lot of respect for Tua.
I did too, but can I just rattle off Kirk Cousins' numbers from last year?
They lie.
They don't. I mean, look, they do, but it's pretty good, man.
Kirk
It's
Cousins
fucking
is like
good.
the hardest quarterback to judge.
He
He's
is.
like, you know what Kirk Cousins reminds me of?
He is.
He
Though.
reminds me of Eli Manning without the Super Bowls.
Damn, that just hit me. Damn, you're right.
He's Eli Manning without the Super Bowls.
You're right. I think Kirk
Except
Cousins,
his win-loss record's probably way better. Well, no, definitely is way better.
See, I think Kirk is a little bit more efficient numbers-wise.
So
Like less turnovers, maybe I would say. But Kirk Cousins last year, he was great.
I was trying to tell you that all last year.
66% completion percentage, 4,500 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, 14 picks. Pretty good to me. That's pretty good.
Nick, I told you this last year.
But, however, I am going to rebuttal that.
Okay.
He was also the fourth highest attempts last year.
Mhm.
So those numbers are inflated. I get it. Just like Brady's were. Like Brady had a lot of passing yards, but he also threw for like 700 times compared to the field. So I get that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not oblivious to the stats. I'm not like a fucking, I get it. I defend Brady, but when it comes down to looking at the numbers, obviously it's going to be more skewed when you have more attempts, right? Yes. So but the longevity of throwing 600 and something passes in a year, that's got to speak something, right? Like, you have stamina, you got, I know it's kind of crazy, but you're
Don't ever
healthy.
Look at me and tell me about having stamina.
But look, you play 17 full games and you're throwing the ball 650 times. That's got to count for something, right? Like that's a lot of wear and tear on a
tired
person's
arm
body.
and a first round exit.
Yeah.
Look, I just
called by yours truly.
I just thought about it. That was the Kirk Cousins and Eli comparison. That was really right off the top of my head there because
That's a great comparison.
I don't know how to judge Kirk Cousins, and that's the same thing with Eli Manning. I don't know how to judge. My issue with Kirk Cousins is last year. Like I'm not a big Kirk Cousins fan, but last year the team was rolling. They were 11-0 in one-score games. They beat the Bills. They were really good, and then he comes out and lays an egg against the Giants. And it's like, bro, what? Who are you?
I just think that Minnesota doesn't really put him in the best position to succeed per se when it comes to big time matchups, like
But
game planning. I'm talking game planning specifics.
That's been the story
When
of his career, though.
I get it. But when you are too Justin Jefferson centric and you don't really, get it going on the ground, like you're not balanced, that hurts you.
But how are you not balanced with Dalvin Cook?
I don't know. Because I guess when you have a Justin Jefferson, you want to get him the football because he's so dynamic.
All right. That's
so
fair.
I get it. I get it. But they needed, that's why they drafted Jordan Addison. They got rid of Adam Thielen because they know they're too Justin Jefferson centric.
Yeah.
Then they went out and got Hawkinson. Hawkinson was a great addition for him.
As told by Pauls.
Yeah, it was a great. I hated it, but he was a great addition for him. He was a beast. He was somebody that went across the middle and commanded attention. And he was a big body, wide body, Calabasas. You know what I mean? So he was really good for them. So I just, I think they need to put him in better position to succeed game planning wise when they play better teams. That's all. That's what I see in the Vikings.
Yeah, I know.
Truthfully.
All right, last segment before we get out of here. We're going to start with some fantasy football. What is your most underrated strategy?
Wow.
Like trade negotiations, draft, waiver wire, flex options, all that type of stuff that goes into like the grind of the season.
So
this is a grind.
So the most underrated strategy to me is when I am sitting down and I'm getting ready to prepare for my draft, I look at wide receivers who have had over 100 targets in the previous season. And I look to see if they changed coaching staffs. And if they didn't, or if they got somebody that I like and can make them even better, I'm going to put them on my list because I always go for the volume. It's a volume-based league. The NFL is a passing league. So the more opportunity is, to me, you get the more points or projected points, that is. So I always go for guys that go for high volume. Give me the guys that can get me 120 targets. I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care if it's a Brandon Cooks. I don't care if it's a Christian Kirk. I don't care if it's a Gabe Davis. Those guys are getting me 120 targets in a season. I can carry that with me throughout the entire season, and that gives me volume per week.
I feel like it's a combination of things. And I think, like you just said, it goes from the draft strategy. But I also think that's something that is really, really important, and it's kind of obvious, is the waiver wire. Because if you can nail in those first few weeks, if you get one of those players that pops, you could change the trajectory of your whole season. I remember a few years ago, it was like the last time I was even good in fantasy football. I had Le'Veon Bell, and I forget who the other running back was that I had, but I picked up Alvin Kamara. I was when Odell Beckham's rookie year, when he was out for the first 4 to 6 weeks, I picked him up. If you can get a player like that in the beginning of your season that you don't need to worry about in the draft, that could like literally switch your whole season. Now, 2 years ago, when I went through all those, when I had 5 players on the bench that were all injured, I was working through the waiver wire.
Right.
So to me, like it's all plotting and scheming and like knowing your players. And like you said, like we've sat down and we've rapped about this, like with the targets and stuff like that. And yeah, all that stuff matters. But for me, it's just your draft strategy, your approach, and then how you maneuver on the wire.
Totally agree with you. So like when you go for the wire though, right? Like you're in the early stages of the season. What are you looking for on the wire that is grabbing your attention immediately in that player? Is it the volume? Is it the usage? Is it the offense? Is it the quarterback?
For me, I'll look at the quarterback, and I like to look at the team they're playing.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, if I know, like if it's the Houston Texans, and I'm like, okay, they're not a good team, but Brandon Cooks is out this week, and they're playing the Raiders, and the Raiders are ass. Okay, I'm gonna look really hard at Nico Collins. Why? Somebody has to get those points.
Right.
Who was that dude that I picked up on the Colts and we were cracking up because he had a huge week?
Was it?
It wasn't Paris Campbell. It was a different name, and we were cracking up laughing about it because he did really good.
Damn.
It was like 2 years ago. I can't think of that guy's name. But it was stuff like that. I just looked at like, okay, who are you playing? It was the same strategy I had last year when I was picking up the defenses. I was picking up all the defenses that were playing.
Chester Rogers.
That's
who it was.
And he went off.
But he's not a big name, but the guy was getting 12 targets a week.
Yes, and I look at the targets too. But I to me, it also comes into account the defense that they're playing. It's targets, and then I look, okay, are they playing a really bad defense that has no corners? Mm-hmm. Is that corner out? You know what I mean? Is one of their good corners out, and that their really good corner has to focus on D-Hop? I look at things like that.
It's a great point because if you get into the waiver wire and just say you hit a home run on the guy that you pick up, you didn't start him that week, but guess what? Somebody in your league needs that player due to injuries, due to a lack of, or just because their draft sucked, they need a player, right? And they think that guy can help them out. That's where I feel like you can become a businessman at some point. Yes. And sell high on the player that you just picked up to acquire another piece that can help you along the way. That's where that's
trades to me, and what I've learned over the years, because I made good ones and I made really bad ones. Trades are all about timing.
They will make or break your season.
I mean, I'm a look at me.
However, it is not like you don't have to trade to win the whole thing either.
Yeah, no.
Because I didn't trade anybody last year.
Neither did Seamus.
And if I did trade Pauls, I would have never won.
I know.
I would have been fucked.
I know.
Somebody would have gotten hurt that I acquired that I wanted to have on my team moving forward and saw as a championship piece, but he would have never been there because he got hurt. So yeah, if I would have traded, I would have got fucking screwed.
I know.
So just being patient is also a big thing for me. It's just being patient with your draft. Trust your draft. You know what I mean? Like go in there, get your guys that you want, and then play it out.
Trust
See
your
how the first
hours.
I always say it. The first month is the crucial month because then you could see the landscape of your team. You could see how they're performing on the running backs, the wide receivers. How's your quarterback doing? Do I have a good tight end? You'll know somewhat. You'll know a lot more than you did 4 weeks ago. But once you could do that, then you're able to maneuver. Okay, I know that my running backs are probably not going to do it for me for the rest of the way. I need to make a move. What can I move? I have a wide receiver in place that I can move for a running back. So it's a lot of mix and match
in our league too, because we're 14 people.
I agree with that.
So it's really hard because you can't really the only really way to make moves is you have to add so many players. The waiver wire is not that good. I mean, when you pick up players in our league, you have to research.
You're getting bottom of the barrel.
You're getting third and fourth guys.
You're getting bottom of the barrel. You're not getting shit.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. What would be your advice on how to prepare for your fantasy draft?
What always works for me, blank slate. Right? I wipe the board clean. I don't even think about last year. I go right into the position players of 2022 per position. I'll start with the quarterbacks. What am I looking for? Am I looking for a running quarterback or am I looking for a pocket passer? Depending on the league, the way it's set up. If you're getting points for a running quarterback, I'm probably going to lean to running quarterback. It's just the way it is, right? And then what I do is I go position by position. Pause.
I was going to say, all right. I'm behind that.
Major pause, yeah, for real. And I highlight names that I think are going to be really good. And what I do is I look at the volume from last year. How many carries did they get? Did they get a lot of targets? What's their offense looking like now? Did their offense acquire, a player that could take away, those carries or the volume? I look at all stuff like that. And what I do is I give myself at least 2-3 days to kind of formulate who I actually want per position. That's what I do. And then towards 2 weeks later, I formulate everything and I combine them and I cut the weeds out of who I want and who I don't want. And what I do is I like to look at a certified star. I like to look at a consistent player, low double digits weekly. And then I look for an up and coming player, a boom or bust kind of guy, primed to break out. This gives you flexibility and balance, in my opinion, and the wide receiver position and in any positions actually, besides quarterback and tight end. But you know what I mean? Yeah.
So for me, I would say if you're preparing for your fantasy draft, the first thing I would do is not listen to me as a current back-to-back last place finisher. That's number one.
No, well, you can't do that because we want people to tune into our fantasy take, and you have good fantasy.
I'm gonna be wearing a fucking romper on here in about 3 weeks.
The problem is,
oh yeah, Phil, did you know that?
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, that's the new punishment. I have to wear a romper on one of these episodes.
Yeah, he's gonna wear on the episode. So I hate that. You're good at fantasy. Like I could talk fantasy with you, and you know what the fuck is going on. The problem is, you just do stupid shit and you don't listen to theories.
Listen. We're having it out right now.
Let's do it.
2 years ago was not my fault. Last year, I take full responsibility.
I get it.
2 years ago, I had 5 players injured. What was I supposed to do there? That's like an anomaly. Both my IR spots were taken up and I had 3 injured players on my bench. What am I supposed to do?
I get it.
You can't do that in a 14-player league.
Right.
Last year, yes, I bad trade. the thought that I had formulated in my head made sense. It's just I don't think anybody expected Cam Akers to basically get sent home for 6 weeks.
That goes back to our argument with the trade.
Yes.
Patience.
Correct. I know. And trust me, I learned. However, I would say, like, my strategy is find players that you can plug and play with no worries.
5, that's tough.
No, find.
Okay.
F-I-N-D.
Okay.
Find
My
players that
bad.
you can plug and play that you know are guaranteed hitters weekly. Then I like to take calculated risks on players that I think have a high ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
That was my strategy and my approach last year. And if I didn't make that trade with Cheddar, my team would have been good. I would have been fine. So my approach was right. It's just, like I said, I don't even want to talk about it anymore because it's making me pissed off. But I'm just saying that is how I go with it. Find your stud, calculated risk on players that you think have a high ceiling.
Do you think it's necessary to have a top flight running back these days?
Yes and no.
Explain. Like what do you mean? Like yes and no. Like
yes, you need a star.
You need a star running
player.
back.
Yeah,
you need it.
Prominent's a good word.
Do you need it, or is it more of a need, or is it more of a want?
Wants and needs.
Yeah, wants and needs.
No, I think it's a need. I still think you need that position because, again, it's so scarce. The running backs are scarce. It's just, I know that the workload is getting eaten into. I just don't think it's where you don't need 2 big dogs anymore at running back. You don't need that anymore.
But I also don't hate the approach either. Like, I feel like there's a lot of ways you could take fantasy, right?
Well, here's the thing. It depends on if they're pass catchers.
Right.
That matters. Like last year I had Derrick Henry's the only player that you don't have to worry about pass catching.
It's the weirdest thing ever, but yeah, he's a beast. He's phenomenal.
25 points a week and 30 touches.
Yeah.
So it's like, but with a player like I'm trying to think, like Chubb always finishes great, but Kareem Hunt will take.
Whoa.
Come on, fam.
Chubb always finishes great.
Come on, bro. We're almost finished the episode.
What's happening here?
I got a headache.
This is P&I, baby.
So, anyway, but I'm saying he does, but it's like, Kareem Hunt will eat away at some of his opportunities. Kareem Hunt's the pass catcher. How much more dominant I'm not even saying dominant would Chubb be. How much more dominant would he be if he was the pass catcher?
A lot.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on that. But I still think you still need running backs.
See, I like the strategy. Like I'm weird. I like the strategy of having 2 monster running backs, even though I didn't do it last year.
Yeah.
I like the strategy to have 2 monster running backs and going cheap ass wide receivers. Guys that get high volume targets. That has always worked for me.
Yeah.
Like a couple years ago when Cole Beasley was getting like 12 targets a game, I picked him up.
Yeah.
Because he's getting me 12 targets a game. Like, yeah, he's going to get me 11, 12 points. But that's all I needed out of him because I had 2 big running backs that got me the points.
Well, here's the thing now. The big running backs that you speak of, there's not many of them.
That's not true.
Nick,
when I say big running backs, I'm talking about the guys that put up like the 25 burgers a week.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of them anymore.
Well, you got
it's CMC, it's Eckler, it's Derrick Henry, it's Nick Chubb. I mean, Breece Hall was all right. Breece Hall was up there, but he just got hurt, so you don't know what he's going to be coming back. But we're in a league with 14 players.
Yeah.
So even if there's 7 or 8, the next half of those guys are going to be the next half of the league. You better build the rest of your team and hit on every one of those picks.
So that's another strategy then, right? So let's talk about that. As we're going to come to an end here on this episode because we've been rapping for a little while, but I just want to talk about this one little point here. Like, are you a guy that can go middle of the pack running backs and then go a big wide receiver name or big wide receivers?
Yes and no. And that comes from
But it also depends on the format.
Yeah, but it's conversations that you and I have had, and you can get players for $10. Well, our draft is different. You can get players at a lesser price that can do the same shit as the high quality players.
I'm so proud of them.
And what I've read and what I've noticed is like, okay, like I actually really, really understand that.
Yeah.
And like I said, you didn't have to tell me now. I watch it. I saw it. I know exactly what you're talking about. So I will take that with me to our draft this year and moving forward because I'm like, okay, I understand that strategy now. But again, the only thing is like when you take risks on players with high ceiling, you have to hit.
Yeah.
Because like if you take a risk on somebody and it doesn't hit, that's a dud. And when we're going in our league, that is so hard to overcome.
You're down a player.
Yeah, and
you're
that's
down a player.
Depending on how much you cost in that budget, that's a hole to fill. And then the waiver wire, like that's why I said you have to hit early. You have to hit those waivers early and get somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're in deep shit.
I agree with you. And I always look for guys that, they're starting. I look for handcuffs. Look at the starters.
Yes.
Do they have history of getting hurt? Yes. If they do, go scoop them up. That is the number one rule in my book. Last year, I had a feeling Leonard Fournette was going to get hurt or he was going to lose his starting job, just like a hunch, just because of the history. Rachaad White stepped in and he did wonders for me. He did absolute wonders for me. Tyler Algier, the same way, the same guy. Like, I picked him up. He was good. Like, you could find some good quality running backs to help you out. Because I had my running back one was Javonte Williams. He got hurt. My RB2 was ETN. James Robinson, the first couple weeks, was taking over that role, and I was fucked. So if
James Robinson doesn't get hurt or doesn't get traded,
I'm in trouble.
ETN went from being, I don't want to say your best player, but one of your 3 best players, because you had Josh Allen and my thing is, but I would say that ETN was one of your best players. But my point is that if ETN, say James Robinson goes on that trajectory, stays on that path, he doesn't get hurt and he doesn't get traded. If ETN was a miss for you, your season would have been different. You still could have won, but you would have been drastically different because it wasn't a hit. It was a hit, but it was by default.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, when ETN did take over, I mean, there was a couple weeks in there where he was getting like 8-9 points. So like
then he
was getting 21, 22.
And he was a true RB1.
Now 21. That's what he was doing for me.
Yeah.
He was getting me points, bro. He was producing for me, and that helped me because then I was able to get a Rachaad White, and I had loaded wide receivers in T. Higgins, Amon-Ra. They get high volume targets. Then I had Josh Allen, who is a fucking menace, bro. He's a machine, a fantasy football machine. That's what Josh Allen is.
Last thing before we get out of here, give me a fantasy sleeper heading into next season.
All right, hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. My fantasy sleeper. You're gonna laugh at this one, though.
Regular.
You want to laugh at this one?
Yeah.
Ready? Donovan Peoples-Jones.
BPJ.
This is crazy for you, but to me, this is real. 17 games played last year, 61 catches on 96 targets, 839 yards, and 3 touchdowns. With Jacoby Brissett and Deshaun Watson missing two years. The last every year of DPJ's career, he's doubled his stats every single year. Almost doubled his stats, catches, targets, yards, everything. He's doubled since he's been in the league in 2020. 2020 he came in the league. He has doubled his production year in and year out. This guy is 24 years old. He's a big body. I really like him to break out this year. I think he is a fantasy sleeper if Deshaun Watson can come back to form. I like that a lot because I was a fan of him when Baker was there. Yeah.
Remember, we used to laugh about
He's
it
solid,
all the time.
man. He's solid.
I think he's a good wide receiver. I think he's a good player. My fantasy sleeper is Jahan Dotson.
Wow.
In 12, he outscored Scary Fucking in 6 of the 11 games they both started and completed. He started 12 games and was a top 25 wide receiver finish in 50% of them. So I think Jahan Dotson is primed for a breakout year. Now, it will depend on Sam Howell. I don't know much about him, but I mean, he looked all right against Philly. He looked all right against Dallas. So it's like, if Sam Howell could be formidable, why can't Jahan Dotson
I love it.
of that? He had it with Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke.
I love it. I love it, man.
Scary Fucking gets all the attention. So he's
totally
somebody.
agree.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to 159. We'll see you guys on Tuesday night.
That's some good ass fucking content, man. That is some good content. Everybody that's watching right now, man, please tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We appreciate all the love, support, and the comments. If you guys haven't done so already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on YouTube. We are also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Megaphone, Stitcher,
and all that other shit.
That's also follow us on all of our social platforms as we do. Dang, you fucked my rhythm up, man. You fucked me up. We are on all other platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And we will see you guys next Tuesday at P&I, baby. Peace.
I'm caps lock different. It's facts, not fiction. Said I black out for real, then the track gone missing. If it's cap, I'm dipping. We ain't talking about a move, then it's flatline finish. When I spaz, I'm grinning. Put a peel off in the Sadies and I pass by spinning. It's perks with this life, but I don't have my skinach. Took a quick trip and now I'm back home winning. And I see they eyes pop like I snack on spinach. Pull up to the spot, she tryna grab my digits. I'm already 8 shots, a Henny past my limit. Here you go. Hazards with a dash full of tickets. I'ma act like I don't see them. I got bad eye vision. Y'all can't pass my scrimmage. Why y'all tripping?